So, people, there go my little proof that Biden cheated. Now, I was just going back to the primaries, and the primaries, Joe Biden was clearly losing. He was like in the fourth spot, I believe, until they got to Ohio. And when they got to Ohio, it switched into mail-in voting. And just listen to what he got to say. Just listen to this.
Be mostly a mail-in election, so everybody had to mail in their vote unless there was some reason you had to vote in person. And he extended it until April 28th. So most of the votes are now counted, and some votes are still out as long as they're postmarked by April 27th and received by May 8th next week.
Now, y'all see that pattern? That pattern opens it up to after they count the votes, they can slip in whatever votes they need to win. But just look at this. Look at this. Listen to this.
They will count. Joe Biden got 72% of the vote.
72% of the vote. And he was losing.
But I think more important than that is this demonstrates that states can quickly convert over to a mail-in election. One caveat there is it looks like the percentage of people who voted this time around is about half of what it was in 2016. So last presidential cycle, around 3 million people voted in the Ohio primary. This time it looks like it was around 1.5 million. That's not a fun.
So that means that the vote in numbers was down 7 months before the election, and it just spiked up to all these millions and millions of people that voted. And when it went with the coronavirus, you would think less people will vote this time around.
Final tally, but it's probably pretty close. So you can do it by mail, but it could have a big effect on turnout.
I'm curious, when you talk about doing it by mail, have a big effect on turnout, is there a grade for how it worked in Ohio? People saying it's a litmus test for a national, perhaps, election where we all mail in our ballots to our state offices. What do you think?
It looks like it went better than in Wisconsin. For one thing, there was no dispute about whether to have an in-person election or a mail-in election as there was in Wisconsin. I'm not aware of any pronounced irregularities. You know, there are some other states that have been doing mail-in elections for some time. Washington State, for example.
Remember, I was telling y'all that Biden was losing at first. Now, just look at this news right here. They're going to tell you, listen to this. Look how he started just coming back and won. Look at this.
After Super Tuesday last night, former Vice President Joe Biden won 9 of yesterday's 14 state primaries, completing a remarkable turnaround from just 1 week ago. Remember that? His biggest upset came in Texas, where he overcame the former frontrunner, Senator Bernie Sanders. Former Mayor Mike Bloomberg and Senator Elizabeth Warren finished far behind. Biden also came from behind and went Minnesota and Massachusetts, while he swept all the primaries in southern states.
He came from behind.
Primaries, and he's in a strong position in the biggest state of all, California. But this morning he is trailing Biden in the delegate race, though many of the delegates from yesterday's races have not been allocated yet. Ed O'Keefe is covering Campaign 2020. Ed, how much did Super Tuesday change the race? What an incredible night.
Oh, Anthony, incredible, certainly one way to put it. Look, Joe Biden wakes up today in a far stronger position than anyone would have thought just a few days ago. But
don't that remind y'all something? How he just came back against Trump out of nowhere. Just look at this. Look. Listen to what they say. The same thing happened in the primaries.
Incredible, certainly one way to put it. Look, Joe Biden wakes up today in a far stronger position than anyone would have thought just a few days ago. But
the same actors was in play.
The state with the biggest delegate haul of the night, California, is leaning towards him. Look at this, 33% for Bernie Sanders, 24% for Joe Biden, only 51% of the vote in. They're going to keep counting in the Golden State. With Biden's substantial wins across the rest of the country, California's large delegate count might not prove to be a safety net that Bernie Sanders was looking for.
Because they already knew how to beat Bernie Sanders. They knew he was going for California, so they made sure they win every other state with the cheat. Listen to this cheater.
We are very much alive. Tuesday jolted former Vice President Joe Biden's presidential campaign back to life as he swept victories from New England to the South
and the Midwest.
Those have been knocked down, counted out, left behind. This is your campaign.
Biden even won in Texas, despite being outspent by Senator Bernie Sanders by millions. Given the spread of support, Sanders will still pick up many of the Lone Star State's delegates.
You cannot beat Trump with the same old kind of politics.
Nearly half of the voters who made up their minds in the last few days voted for Biden. Support from Latinos and voters under the age of 45.
We are putting together
The U.S. territory of Americans.
But I still think there's about 2 million mail back. And Maine, how are they looking? Maine very close. California is leaning to Bernie.